In this video, I'm gonna put the brand new Cruz Heckler SL into our Top Gear test track, the torture chamber, and I'm gonna tell you how fast this thing is going up a hill, how much battery does it eat up, and how much range to expect from it. And I'm gonna compare even better. I'm gonna compare it to the Orbea Rise, the Transition Relay, the Trek Fuel EXC, and the brand new Specialized Levo SL. All right. Okay, important test because the numbers are all over the place. You know, this is claiming so many watts, just like the Relay and the Pivot Shuttle. And then that Orbea Rise is like so much faster than this bike, you know, perception-wise. So really, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here going on, and a lot of, you know, I want to decipher for you guys and see what's really gonna, you know, what the actual speed is and actual range is for you guys. How do I do this? I do this with power meter pedals, $1,200 pedals from Garmin. And what I do is I do a constant hill climb, same line, same cadence, same heart rate, everything, and very similar tires, you know, as a guy and DHR. And then the most important is I put out the same effort, 200 watts average for this 1 mile, 500-foot hill climb. Okay, what are the numbers? The numbers on this are pretty impressive. 430 watts of energy from that motor, 60 Newton meters. The Orbea Rise is 60 Newton meters as well, around 450 watts. The Trek Fuel EXC, 50 Newton meters, 300 watts of power. Levo SL has 320 watts and 50 Newton meters of torque. And then the Transition Relay and the Pivot Shuttle, very similar, but they claim with the same motor, they claim 450 watts and 60 Newton meters of torque. So, but then when you ride them, it's like, man, it's not exactly telling the true story. All right, I'm gonna cut to the chase and give you the times right away. And then I'm gonna do a deep dive for those who wanna hang on to it. So this bike right here, the Cruz Heckler SL, full power, full gas, meaning full mode, and it climbed the hill in 6 minutes, 52 seconds, all right? Now, the King, it actually got beat by the Specialized Levo SL with less torque and less power, and that did it in a time of 6 minutes 51, 1 second faster. So call that a tie, call that a wash. And then the next one is the Transition Relay. It should be here, but I just returned it. But I did extensive testing on it, and that one climbed it in 6:54. So for all practical purposes, the SL, the Heckler SL, and the Transition Relay were all the same. The Trek Fuel EXE, the number for this one is 7:05. All right, are you ready for the really mind-blowing part of this video? So this did it in 6 minutes 52 seconds, right? The climb. That Orbea Rise right there did it in 5 minutes 40 seconds. 5 minutes 40 seconds, a staggering difference. So even though 60 Newton meters, 60 Newton meters, and 450 watts, that one was way faster. I don't know, 20% faster or 25% faster. That thing is a beast. How come this was only 6 minutes 52? How come it wasn't like 5 minutes? So the real problem here is this motor is actually not 430 or 450. It is actually 350 watts. So I've talked to Fazua about this issue, and they're like, oh yeah, 450 is just a little momentary turbo mode. If you hold this for 5 seconds, you know, you will go on a turbo mode for about 12 seconds. So it will go to 450 watts, they call it 430, some kind of high wattage, but only momentary. So it's a momentary boost that is not really the true output of this motor. All these other motors, they can go on that the 300 watt, 320 watts, 300 watts, 450 watts all day long. So they are really playing with smoke and mirrors here. I'm a little bit upset about it because they won't change it. if you just call this 350 watts, it will help a lot of people for comparison. You know, just because you have a little 10-second boost mode, it doesn't mean you're 450 watts. So that's why it seems so much faster on paper. All right, the other part of the story before I close is the battery capacity. Now, this has got something going for it, which is it has a big battery, 430 watt hours. This one is 540, so that's a real winner. The Trek is 360 and the Specialized is 320. So anyone with the Fazua Ride 60 motor will have this 430 watt hour battery. Now, all these other guys in the back have extenders. This bike has promised an extender for 2023, but it's not coming. So 2024, maybe midway 2024, is probably going to be sold out. They're promising a 200 watt extender. So, but as it is, what's in the frame, 430 watt hours of battery. And in this climb that I did, this bike used up 9% of its battery, using 38 watt hours. The Orbea Rise, because it's so much faster, it was just going hard. It used 9% of its battery, and that took up 48 watt hours of battery. The Trek is kind of a battery hog, being the slowest of the group. Took 15% of its battery, and that took up 54 watt hours of battery. And the Levo SL is right in the middle. It took up 14% of the battery for 44.8 watt hours. So pretty cool. This one, you know, with its output that it's putting out is probably the most efficient. 38.7 watt hours of battery was used, so the lowest of the group. And given that it has a 430 watt hour battery inside, then that translates to a math calculation. It can climb 5,500 feet of climbing at this particular test, where it's just a pure climb. There's no flat road, you're just climbing the whole time. And this is the best. It matches the Orbea. These other two guys, Specialized is at 3,500 feet, and the Trek Fuel is actually the least at 3,300 feet. So even though this has a 360 watt hour, 320, this will climb more because of efficiency. You say, oh, the range on this is the same as that. Well, not necessarily, because that one is doing it at a much faster pace. So if we're going at the same rate, that one will outlast, the Orbea Rise will outlast the Santa Cruz Heckler SL. I'll give you the spreadsheet that I'm working in, and then I'm going to compare all these bikes in terms of noise, ride quality, features, and whatnot. And this is just a pure speed comparison between this bike and its peers. All right? Thanks a ton, everybody.